for coming to attend our portion of this class. We were asked by states in the local area here to come in and speak because we had several topics in which we had built into this breaking the bamboo ceiling, if there's any discrimination within the workforce. The corporate life is really where the bamboo ceiling is affected. And so we were thankful that they asked us, and I asked my panelists to come in and speak with me because I'm only one person. I'd rather you guys hear from a variety of us rather than just one perspective. So alongside with that, like I said, I'm with the National Association of Asian American Professionals in the Tampa Bay area. I am a board member on that. If you guys take a look at what NAAAP is, or you Google NAAAP, it's NAAAP. There should be a local chapter where you guys are located also, in which you guys can get plugged in. With our chapter, student membership is free, so we'll dive into that a little more later on if you guys are interested. But as we go throughout this panel, we're very just laid back as a group here. You guys can start thinking of really great questions. Like, we really want great questions. You guys can stumble and answer. But at the end, we'll leave questions for you guys to just chime in and then get more intake on what our professionals have here today. So without further ado, before we jump into our topics, I'm going to have each individual introduce themselves, starting with Man.
Okay, my name is Man Lee, or in Vietnamese is Man Lee, as lived in many worlds. I am currently the contract procurement manager for the Tampa Expressway Authority. We don't operate the Summer Expressway. And we're also working on the building the bridge for you civil engineers on Gandhi Boulevard, connecting where it ends now actually to the Gandhi Bridge. I received my BA Political Science from Stetson University, and I attended law school at Stetson University. And currently, 2 years ago, I received my National Project Management Professional Accreditation, and I am the president and founder of NAAAP and in the Tampa Bay area. And I think that's enough about me.
So good morning, I'm Zara Elliott. So I'm a bit of I work in a different field. I'm an attorney. I'm a partner at Ackerman LLP, where I practice labor employment law. So for those of you who are obviously engineers and medical field, you might need me to draft your employment agreements. But in any event, I'm Filipino. 100%. Again, I practice labor employment law. Ackerman is a full-service firm. We have over 27, 28 offices now in the nation and over 750 attorneys. I went to USF undergrad 14 years ago, and I attended UF Law School, so go Gators. I also serve as the president of the Asia Pacific American Bar Association of Tampa Bay, which is a local affiliate of the national organization, which comprises over 50,000 legal professionals in the nation and Canada. I'm also a member of that, so happy to be here. And again, this is very casual, so please let this meeting be engaging. So turn it over to Maribel.
So my name is Maribel Anderson. I'm Filipino and proud of it. Not full Filipino like her though. Quarter Spanish. I have 37 years of experience. I am a senior environmental scientist, environmental manager for Michael Baker International. It's an engineering firm, architectural engineering, construction, and planning. And we have about 4,000 employees and offices throughout the United States, including Canada and the Middle East. I am a founding member of NAAAP and one of the board members as well. And we are very passionate about helping other Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders build their careers. So I have something in common with you. We had a special program in college when I went to school. I graduated from the University of the Philippines in a double degree, double major, BS biology, major in ecology, and DS marine zoology with pre-med, and I dropped out of medical school after my first year. So, back to you, Linda.
All right, thank you. So jumping into our topic today, according to the Harvard Business Law, Asians are frequently criticized for being reticent, more hesitant than other cultures to advance new ideas at a team meeting or promote themselves to their managers. Our topic is going to be based on the corporate setting where Asian Americans are met with challenges in being promoted to management or executive levels. To understand you guys better, by show of hands, can you guys just share your educational studies or your social life? Have your outspoken, fun, or talented peers been chosen over you for leadership? Anybody experienced that? You're against your peers, and then because of Asian passiveness. Nobody? Okay, that's okay. So, have the first question posed, and this is going to be going to one of our panelists, Maribel. Have you faced a bamboo ceiling in a workplace? If so, share a specific event in which your peers were chosen for leadership due to your lack of speaking up and ability to mold the culture, or not being assertive enough, and in what city did this occur?
So it occurred in Clearwater, Florida. When I first came here, I started my career as an environmental scientist, and I worked with an all-American group. I was the only Asian. So first and foremost, we had a culture clash because our culture is different. And as you know, Asians are very hardworking. As I moved up the ladder, one of the ladies that I worked with thought she deserved the job, the promotion. And so I was ostracized for it. And you could not be vocal because it's like a game against you. And so my choices were, after working for county government for 12 years, my choices were my managers loved me, my director loved me, because I'm hardworking, I start new programs, and I'm innovative. However, my coworkers did not like me and hated me because I made them look bad. They were an 8-hour employee, and I was not one of those. I was very driven, and most Asians are. So they heckled me, they isolated me, and so my choices were to file a grievance and stick it out, or leave and find a better job somewhere else. And I chose the latter. And I wouldn't be where I am today if that didn't happen in my life. You know, guys, I was on the phone with my husband, and my door was closed in my office, and he can hear them making crying noises through my door, and I was on the phone. It was very, very hurtful, but you had to go through it and just look forward.
Can you just share what time frame or what year this was, just so that we have a better perspective? Was it recent? Was it?
It happened in 1999.
Thank you, Marvin, for sharing. The next question is, how much of your upbringing contributed to this behavior? And I know that Man's going to take this, but we kind of want to piggyback off of what you just shared too, Marvin. Do you think that your upbringing contributed to your hardworking and your driven personality?
Oh, absolutely. So I was fortunate to be raised enough that my parents raised me that I can do anything as long as I put hard work into it, and I can, I can just do my best. And I have to earn everything through hard work. My father was a lawyer. If I wanted a new pair of shoes, I basically have to come to him and it's like, I want a new pair of shoes because I got A's in this and this and this subject. So he taught me early in life that there's a price for everything. And so I learned that if I worked hard, you get rewarded. Sometimes you don't, but you eventually get noticed.
Part of the philosophy of the bamboo ceiling is that as Asians, we're quiet and subservient, meek, mild, what have you. And I think part of that comes from how I don't know if you all that grew up, you grew up as a kid taught to be good, which means to be quiet. You're taught to respect your elders, which means to be quiet. You're taught to don't speak to elders unless you're just reading them, unless you're speaking to them, which means you have to be quiet. So there's a theme here. So growing up, I was quiet and shy because of all those things, and also because I was the eldest of 2 boys, 3 girls, so 3 boys, 3 girls in the family, and both my parents had to work. So as a result, I had to take care of my siblings, from getting dressed for school and taking care of after school. I didn't mind it, but I couldn't wait till I started college. I love my family, but I could not wait to leave home. So yes, I see some nods. Yeah. So when I went to college is where I looked around and it's like I need to be different. I can't be shy and quiet and be functional. So I made an effort to break out of my shell. I took a speech class, one of my electives, and I learned I really liked speaking. It took a lot of practice, a lot of times and hours, but as a result, I really liked it and I ended up being on the speech team. And that process helped me break out of my shell, and which was good because I knew that when I entered the workforce, and if I was shy and quiet, even in interviewing for jobs, you can't sell yourself, you can't be confident, and they would not hire that. And I think that is part of what the philosophy of the bamboo ceiling is about.
Yeah, so when we were discussing this panel prior to coming to see you guys today, we identified that a lot of Asians, majority of us, do have the passive characteristics. We want to stay in line with what compliance is. But at the same time, as we continue to spur off of one another in conversation, we found out that all 4 of us are kind of more outspoken as far as Asians. And so the question is because when I reflect on my relationship with my husband, who is more passive in nature, I do notice that instead of speaking up, he'll just say, well, somebody else is going to say it instead. So the next question is going to be posed towards Zara. When do you know and how do you discern when it's safe to challenge leadership to profit and grow the company versus being labeled as insubordinate? And what clues should one be aware of if we're going to speak out?
Okay, so opportunities are everywhere, right? So once you become a professional, you're gonna have meetings, you're gonna have brainstorming sessions, you're gonna have one-on-ones with your superiors, right? So there will be opportunities everywhere once you're there. But I want to switch up the question as to two things that I want to emphasize once you have that opportunity. This is critical in my line of work because I practice employment law, right? I see disagreements, I handle cases all the time, and oftentimes they stem from just minor disagreements that blew up, right? So two things I want to emphasize to everyone. Knowledge and respect, okay? So knowledge, let me expand on that a bit. I don't want you all to speak just for the sake of speaking up, okay? When you have that opportunity to actually contribute to the company, be knowledgeable about it. You have to know the issues that the company is facing. You have to learn how to utilize your job, your role, to better the company. Again, don't talk just for the sake of speaking, because you don't want to come off as someone who just blurts out that there's nothing, there's no substance to it, okay? So utilize your role so that you can meaningfully participate. Number two, respect. You can be assertive, you can speak up, you can chime in without sounding like an a-hole, without sounding, it's true, without being condescending, right? Because the more you practice actually being able to convey your message in such a manner that people will actually hear you, because going back to the knowledge, there's substance to it, over time, you are going to be seen as someone as a credible team player. So while the question always, it sort of poses, how are you able to spot those? Opportunities will be there. And I want you all to take advantage of your experience, your background, your culture, but then again, utilize your skills and make sure that you are being heard not because you were just loud, but because you're respectful as well.
So I wanted to follow up on that and go back to what Meredith had mentioned earlier about being hardworking, driven, and it caused the peers to become a little, I would say, spiteful. What clues should we look for in the leadership above us to know that it's safe to go ahead and speak up without them feeling like they're being subordinate?
That's a tough one. So she said respect. So there's actually something that's a word that comes to me, and it's mindful. When you're mindful, you're respectful, and you seize the opportunity, and you so you also gauge the situation when you're mindful. That means you're aware of your surroundings as well. So respect is not just, so I'm just gonna go down to the basics. Respect is being on time or being early because you're respecting someone's time. In school, you learn things in time, when you're teachers, when you have exams, you have to complete it in time. In the work environment, that is also important. When you go to an interview, be early. Make sure you have your resume. When you're working, make sure that your deliverables, your work product is on time. That is being respectful of your clients, your customers, and your coworkers. In a brainstorming session, be mindful. That is knowing the right opportunity and reading, your coworkers and how they're reacting to you. It's not something you learn overnight. It's something that you learn through the years as you engage others. Just remember, you're Asian American. You're a combination of the American culture and the Asian culture, and we take the best of both worlds. In our culture, we are told to be quiet, respect your elders, etc. I'm one of those rebels, so it didn't apply to me. But I learned to be humble and temper myself, because I was raised to be confident. There is a difference between aggressive, condescending, and confidence. And as I speak to you, you can see I'm confident, but I'm not condescending. So that's a delicate balance.
Meredith, how did you find that confidence?
Oh, because I was raised with it. Sorry. At a very young age, I was 9 years old, and I had a scooter, and I fell, and I scraped the left side of my body, and my father told me, accountability. Said, it was your fault, you have nobody to blame yourself, and remember from now on, whatever you do, it is your choice, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. But remember that the lesson is not in what happened to you, but it's how you get up and move forward. So, the lesson there is accountability and self-respect, and of course, confidence. I was 9. So, through the years, there were other lessons through it. You have to find your North Star or your passion. And when you find your North Star or your passion in whatever it is that you do, whatever avenue it is, It will give you confidence. First of all, you love it. So you will be confident about it. You know your subject because you were passionate about it. You turned every book, everything, research it. So you learned about it. And because you know that, it should come naturally to talk about something. So it goes to public speaking. Some people are natural public speakers and others are not. But that goes to confidence as well. And all of those takes hard work and practice. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
So the next part that we wanted to dive into is, what if you weren't raised with that type of upbringing in which your parents really championed you to voice your opinion or be confident? Zara, can you share about that?
Sure. So it's funny, when we were actually having our pre we were prepping for this meeting. We were talking about some of the ways I was able, some of the things that happened to me that obviously helped me land where my job or my role right now. And the mentor and sponsor topic came back. Let me ask you first. How many of you know the difference between a mentor and a sponsor? How many of you have heard the concept of sponsorship and mentorship? Mentorship, yes. What about sponsorship? Okay. So good. So let's talk about that. And so mentors. I hope by now that all of you here, I hope that by now you have at least one mentor. Okay. So mentor, I mean, it's self-explanatory, right? You find a mentor, you find at least someone who's professional, someone who's already doing, who's doing what you aspire to do, or serving in a leadership role that you aspire to have one day, right? You bounce off ideas, they give you input, they give you advice, they give you guidance. You meet with them once every 2 months, once every 3 months, right? You pick up the phone, they answer your question, right? Mentor. But what about a sponsor? A sponsor is an advocate, okay? It has a, you find a sponsor who will actually champion you behind the scenes. Sponsor is a deeper level compared to a mentor. Let me give you an example, okay? So first, I'm gonna have 2 sponsors. I have mentors everywhere, even if they don't know they're my mentors, but they're my mentor. Because I just pick up the phone, I ask them, hey, I'm dealing with a situation, what are your thoughts? Automatic mentor. But a sponsor, I only have 2, okay? I only have 2 advocates. A couple years ago when I was up for a partnership in my firm, my sponsor is actually my colleague. She used to be my boss. She's not my partner. When I was up for a partnership a couple years ago, I was an associate. I went up against, obviously, male counterparts. So there's obviously those challenges. Caucasian, right? So the executive, the management knew my numbers. They knew my role, my professional bar association, my involvement with others. But my advocate, my sponsor, made sure, even though she wasn't part of the executive committee, who actually considered who would become partner that year, made sure that she actually picked up the phone and advocated for me. A mentor would not do that. Okay. So while it is important for you all to have mentors, plural, you have to you have to find a way to land yourself at least with one sponsor. It takes time. Okay. You can't just pick and choose. Okay, she's successful or he's successful, you're gonna become my sponsor. No. You have to use the word mindful. You have to know actually this person's background. You have to know the credentials. You have to know how others view this person, and then develop that relationship, and then make the decision whether this person is actually a suitable sponsor for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a follow-up. Can you elaborate on the phone and advocate for you? Was that something she did on her own, or was that a pre?
She did that on her own. So she actually was paired up with, for me, when I joined Ackerman 5 years ago. I was a 4-year associate then. Our firm always partners up associated with a partner, and she was my mentor. So over time, though, I knew that she was doing more than serving as a mentor. She was introducing me to her clients. And all of a sudden I would attend a meeting, she wasn't there, and people would tell me, oh my God, Zara, Karen says so much great things about you, because I do work for her as well. And I knew then that she not only did she care about my professional growth, she cared about my personal growth. So going back to your question, yes, she did that without me asking her, because she knew that I'm more than just my work product. She knew what I did outside of work. She knew my passion for my profession. She knew my family. She knew my husband. She knew my professional relationship with NAAAP and APABA, the National Asia Pacific Market Bar Association. So she took it upon herself because she knew who I'm up against, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I know there's the bamboo ceiling there, but for women, we still have that glass ceiling. So double whammy for us.
That's very true.
Yeah, double whammy. So she picked the phone, talked about, made sure that the team got everything, that they're evaluating me fairly. Did that help? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very, very proud to call her a sponsor. She knows that. I brag about her all the time.
And so, you had a direct conversation with her, will you be my sponsor, or was that something like more
It's
than
so
she-
organic. It's just it happened organically.
Yeah.
Because she was my mentor, but then again, the way, and all of a sudden, I remember a couple years ago, I just started telling people, yeah, she's my sponsor. And she loved it. I think she took pride, especially when I told her, look, I have a lot of mentors, but like the mentor, the sponsor, really, you're one of the two. And she took pride. That's why I said you have to, don't just pick a sponsor just because you want one to champion you. I hate to be, say that I was very, I calculated, and I really made sure that I picked the right one. But I did.
I have a follow-up question. How many audience have a mentor? Okay. All right. How many would like a mentor? Okay, good. Well, NAAAP can help with that. NAAAP as a professional association can help with mentorship. But going back to sponsorship, sometimes your sponsors choose you. Like now you're talking about it, I have a sponsor. I did not have a sponsor because I have been working with this other exec director in my company. Anytime she needs something, I'm like, all right, what do we need? I can help you, blah, blah, blah. And later I found out she advocated for me when I didn't even know about it. She said, oh yeah, so-and-so said you were, and I'm like, really?
Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
know she knew I was doing some of the stuff. So in that respect, she advocated for me, so she kind of became my sponsor. So it's a two-way relationship.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I only brought 3. I can give you my business card.
So at some point, it's valuable to become a sponsor as well, too.
Yes, absolutely. I serve as a sponsor. I'm to an in-house counsel right now. We were paired up as part of the UF mentorship program, as an ambassador program. And I started mentoring her when she was a law student, and then when she graduated, passed the bar, worked as an attorney firm, and now an in-house. I take pride. As her sponsor.
We like to pay forward. So mentorship is something that, is dear to now. I've been doing it before. I'm also a member of the Tampa Bay Association of Environmental Professionals and a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers. And I encourage you to join your local chapters since you all are engineers. So those are good associations. I work, 80% of my work is on airports. So I'm also one of the board members for Florida Airports Council. So having said that, mentorship is something that we like to do. I've mentored people that are now in Chicago, etc. And so when you champion somebody, the relationship is very different. And so as a sponsor myself, I only take one at a time. Because you want to know them personally. And when you champion them, it's like, so if I pick you and I'm your sponsor, you are my legacy. I'm paying it forward. Like I am someone else's legacy. God bless his soul, he passed away a few years ago. And to this day, I tell people that I am his legacy.
So moving on back towards the bamboo ceiling, which the topic was chosen for us to speak to you guys about, there are challenges in which Asian Americans are having, in which trying to obtain a management or an executive level. And I know that we've been able to reach some of those levels. So the question is for Manazara, how long did you aspire to get there to either management or executive level? And what are the 3 contributing factors that you guys can share?
I'm gonna pull that back on the Irish side. It'll be quick. Well, the legal field is somewhat because I work at a big firm. There is that standard that you have to be practicing for sort of the partnership track. You have to be practicing for 7 to 8 years before you can consider. So total, I can tell you, been practicing for almost a decade now. I did become a partner a year early. So almost a decade. That took me 10 years to be where I'm at. I started working for a boutique firm, mid-size, and a big firm. 3 things to help me out, and mine is going to expand on this work ethic. Okay? I was born in Manila. Okay, when I was 11, my mom and I moved to Hong Kong, where I attended and graduated high school 6 training. Work ethic has helped me take leadership roles, not just in law firm, not just with a company where I work, but also with bar associations, right? And turn it over to the two things. I mean, work ethic is really the drive and the passion. So those 3 things. But I know that Mon has more to share on this because of everything that he's gone through and his role too with the.
Well, as far as how, like I stated before, I was kind of born into the role of leading because I was the oldest of 6 kids, and so I had to be in charge of them, and I had to tell them what time what to do, for the homework or not. So when I went to college, I knew that I liked to be an in-charge role, whatever that means. But I had to figure out how to do that.
I want to be a boss.
Yeah. So and the 3 traits are, like I mentioned, hard work, have a passion about it, and just look for opportunities. So that's what I did. The opportunities that came up that were given to me to say, hey, I'm a hard worker, somebody noticed it and say, hey, would you be interested in this position? And I was like, yes, definitely. And then later I had to go out and not Google, but I had to research, when there was library, I had to research as to what that position was. I knew a basic foundation, but I had to get up to speed very quickly over the weekend so I can speak informatively about the issue that Monday. But yeah, I said, look for opportunities, so that's what I did.
So since we didn't have Google, what was your resource?
Books and libraries, back in the caveman days.
The Britannica Encyclopedia.
All right, so moving on from that, we really want to hear about statistics and where we're seeing this. So Zara, as an attorney of employment law, how often have you seen discrimination cases, and can you share an experience? And how often do you see that in our local area, Tampa?
In Tampa, not very many, I can tell you that. And I think you can attribute that to the low number of Asians. I mean, you see Asians obviously in Tampa Bay, but compared to other cities and states, right, for the really minority. But in my line of work, it's there, right? I can count the number of discrimination cases that I've handled where it's filed by Asian. But in other states, it's there. For example, I can tell you that the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, so that's the administrative agency that actually handles charges discrimination on the administrative level. They report stats all the time. So in the 90s, I can tell you that out of only 4% of charge discrimination involved Asian claimants. That doubled in the year 2000. Okay, in states and cities, there are class actions where Asian claimants are involved. I can tell you that in 2015, there were hundreds of Hawaii, Hawaii farmers who ended up settling a case with the EEOC for $14.7 million because they alleged discrimination. There's also a group of Chicago workers who ended up settling a case with the EEOC a few years ago because they alleged that they were discriminated against. They were called names. And then there are allegations of discrimination and hostile work environment. So while it is not uncommon, while it's not common in Tampa Bay, it is certainly out there, outside of Tampa.
All right. Since we're getting a little tight on time, I wanted to pose this question to you guys. I know that we've been talking a lot about the corporate industry. However, we found that there are several studies in which speaks about Asian Americans. We move up the ladder to a certain level, and then before too long, these Asian Americans, because they're so entrepreneurial, we find that they decide we're just going to come, right? And so we do have statistics like that are out there through research and the Census Bureau. But I really wanted to have us touch on something that is going to be relevant, because we don't want to just talk about so much of our careers and our professional lives. By just a show of hands, how many of us already have jobs lined up? How many of us are interested in hearing about how to get started and what it's like right from graduation and looking for a career? Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna have our panelists work backwards, way back in time. Man, if you could start, what it was like to freshly graduate and then enter the career world, and how long it took to really get to where you say, this is where I'm supposed to be.
The second question is, I haven't got there yet, so once I get there, I'll let everybody know. But I think that's part of my, that's my raison d'etre. My reason for being is to always try to improve myself no matter what I'm doing. So no matter what level I get, I will always be striving to get be more, to be better than I was yesterday.
It was tough for me, because when I graduated law school, goodness gracious, we were, it was a hard time for my fellow graduates then because firms weren't hiring. Okay, but what I can tell you though is, I knew after I graduated that I wanted to get at it. Come on, took me this long, got got my bachelor's degree, my JD, I didn't spend another 3 years because law school is really like high school all over again here. For those of you who might be interested in going that route after this, but I was ready, right? But I didn't get to work at a firm that I thought would be at, right? So I ended up actually going to work at a boutique firm doing real estate litigation. I share that with everyone because everyone needs to start somewhere, okay? So even if your first job isn't your dream job, it's fine, because you have to pave your path. And I paved my path by actually just jumping in there. And it turned out to be really beneficial for me, because at that firm, I was in court the second week. I was doing hearings, and it became, I handled non-jury trials, over 100 of them in a year and a half. So that helped me land my second, my job at the second firm, the mid-sized firm, and then ultimately at Ackerman.
I'm the oldest of all, so my history is a little long. So I can tell you that my work ethic is not the same as it was today when I was young. My first job was research assistant for a grant. So all I did was dive, take specimens and identify them in a microscope. Life is good. And then the grant dried up. So I had to find a real job. And so I ended up in pharmaceuticals. I worked in pharmaceuticals as a medical rep, became a supervisor and a training manager, marketing manager, all in 3 years. It was fast. And the reason for it was I was a get-her-done person. My boss said, here's a dossier, learn it. I want a pitch from you tomorrow. And if you could prove yourself, which I did, then you got the job. So hard work, again. But you also have to be intelligent. But hard work is really important. And then so I moved to the States. I can tell you that if you want to focus on family and growing your career slowly, get a government job. The pace on government jobs is slower. You want to grow your career fast, then you need to work in a private industry. I worked for Pinellas County for 12 years, started as an assistant entomologist, environmental scientist, all the way to senior environmental supervisor. Then I left, and then I went into consulting. That was in 1999. I never looked back. Because my passion was restoration and I wanted able to move fast. And it was the same thing. The firm that I worked with, if it was a new project, they'd never done it before, they gave it to me. And it was the ability to take things apart, research, work hard, and make it better than anyone else had done it. So it's not a bragging thing, it's the passion and the drive and the hunger to do better, which always requires hard work. So I am where I am because of that, and I'm happy where I am. And to me, I always learn from the people I work with. I am at a point in my life where I want to give back. That's why I love now.
So with the last few minutes that we have, we'd love for this to be open to the floor for you guys to ask any questions from any one of us, or just go back to any scenario that you guys were interested in.
And
So I actually have a question specific for mom, because I'm also in a working class right now. I just started. I guess, what was like your biggest lesson that you learned from, like, kind of, you said that was like a really transformative process in terms of working with your show. What was like that point, or I guess what's like the best advice you get from that class?
Practice, practice, practice. When I had to do a speech, I always wrote it out, read it, and then practice in front of a mirror and do an outline for memory. Just going back, and that helped me when I was in law school. I was in a moot court competition against this other person, and this other person used 3x5 note cards, and I had everything memorized, and I was on it. So, and of course, I got the higher score, of course. but that again took a lot of practice.
So I have something to add. If you have a local Toastmasters club, join it, because it will make you practice, and it will give you the confidence you need for public speaking.
Okay, next question. But in your career, as you guys continue to go, don't be scared to take on new risks. I think that even if you don't continue in the degree that you're pursuing, have the courage to pursue new risks. I did 6 years for an associate's degree that I don't use today. And it took me 12 years from 18 all the way until I was about 32 to really find this is what I was supposed to do. Marketing, gathering people, and it required no degree. It was just something that you're created to do and you can just soar with that. And so,
Right.
thank you so much for joining us today.
And if I can just add two things, like what she said, like take risk, do it afraid. I had that mentor tell me that. Do it afraid. You're always going to be worried about, oh, I'm not going to be the perfect person to do this. Do it anyways. Okay? And what you're doing right now, networking, crucial. I wish I had someone tell me actually when I was in undergrad to network early, but I didn't have. But otherwise I would have done it. But while you're in undergrad, please start networking. Not just engineers, but other professionals as well. Because you never know what's going to happen later on. You never know what you're going to need later on. So start building and growing your network.
If you do something that you love, it's not work, and you'll never get tired of it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.